Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning, Rufai. All our viewers out there. I was kicking off with Nigeria. Lots of technology to talk about. E-payment transactions have climbed by about 22 or 23% to approximately 285 trillion naira. It's on the front page of today's This Day newspaper, Nigeria's newspaper of record. You can credit Nigerians going more cashless, the whole cashless debacle that happened a few years ago, pushing more Nigerians towards cashless transactions, more fintechs. And also you can thank the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Systems NIP platform, instant payment platform, for making these payments climb more. Yep. Yesterday's This Day, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, they got a bone to pick with the headline, where they are not really happy with how they feel the headline ascribed to them a negative view on economic progress. So the highlights of what they said the point was that what should be focused on is that while the Bureau of Statistics should be commended for its rigorous work, and while 3.13% GDP in the first quarter is notable, they did say they're cautioning against the view of significant progress. That look, the industrial sector still needs to grow, and we need to be doing about 7% or more. So they just wanted to make sure that that was pointed out, that look, GDP growth is fine, but we can do more, and we need to focus on the industrial sector. Electricity, headlines everywhere. Transcorp Power, first half of 2025, revenue growing by 52%, 205 billion, gross profit 16% growth, pre-tax profit almost 59 billion, approximately 15% growth, generational capacity increasing at places like the Ugeli plant, and also trying to maintain operational efficiency. Also a 1 naira 50 kobo dividend to be disbursing about 11.2 billion to shareholders. We'll round off with AI, a theme across 3 different platforms, from Google Gemini to ChatGPT and finally Grok. But starting with Google AI, they have a new AI mode, which has been already in some existing territories, but they're rolling it out in the UK. And basically, this is a response to demand. People, you can assimilate learning in a conversational style, as opposed to just getting links when you search for something on Google. So the AI mode, if you pick it, depending on what you are searching for, it will actually give you your results in a conversational style, speaking like a human being. And that demand is increasing, which is why Google is rolling that out. Now, the same theme along this higher or increased conversations between humans and artificial intelligence, Sam Altman says there needs to be a policy framework around confidentiality. So on a podcast recently, Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, said that young people are divulging more personal information to ChatGPT and treating it like a therapist. And he says the same laws that it's increased conversations, the same laws that cover attorney-client privilege, doctor-patient privilege, the therapist and the patient, should be applied to AI because of this, again, this growth in interactions. That's what he said.
I think we will certainly need a legal or a policy framework for AI. One example that we've been thinking about a lot, and this is like maybe not quite what you're asking, this is like a very human-centric version of that question. People talk about the most personal in their lives to ChatGPT. It's, people use it, young people especially, use it as a therapist, a life coach, having these relationship problems. What should I do? And right now, if you talk to a therapist or a lawyer or a doctor about those problems, there's legal privilege for it. There's doctor-patient confidentiality, there's legal confidentiality, whatever. And we haven't figured that out yet for when you talk to ChatGPT. So if you go talk to ChatGPT about your most sensitive stuff, and then there's a lawsuit or whatever, we could be required to produce that. And I think that's very screwed up. I think we should have the same concept of privacy for your conversations with AI that we do with a therapist or whatever. And no one had to think about that even a year ago.
All right, let me round off, still on AI, but with Grok. Now, if everyone remembers, when Elon Musk purchased X, one of the things he gives to investors or potential investors is that, listen, I have this huge trove of interactions on X which Grok, which is the bot for XAI, can mine in order to do a sentiment analysis. And this sentiment analysis went viral with respect to a number of influencers. And I need to preface this. X is a very toxic place. And there are a lot of folks out there who are trolling and looking for attention and so on and so forth, and like to drag folks. We're all public figures at this table, and we know what that's like with some of the tweets that we get. But here's the thing. This involves JJ Omojuwa, an influencer, and his interaction with Grok, right? So here's what happened. some folks actually went out and asked Grok to list the most foolish Nigerian influencers on X, right? And Grok, basically, if you look at this request, it basically used a sentiment analysis. So that's the request, right? Give us a top 10. Now, this is very key to look at the response and what Grok said. This is how it mines data to take sentiment and essentially put this together. So it says, based on X sentiment analysis and diverse sources, user threads, media critiques, here's my ranked list of top 10 defined by, it says, cloud chasing, misinformation, poor judgment. I don't know most of these folks here, but whoever the number one is, says unsolicited shallow advice, very, very dark man, familiar with him. It says paid drama and controversies, Abbas, cloud chasing, Reno Mokri, divisive, Femi Fani-Kayode, inflammatory. And then Omojuwa is at number 6, ethnic hatred and inconsistency. Again, this is Grok. Whoever is 7, sensational reckless takes, 8, attention seeking, 9, scandal prone antics, and 10, viral but superficial content. Now, this is where things jumped. JJ Omojuwa took offense to this and tagged Grok and spoke to it like a human being. Now, people were laughing, but including myself, but it's partly out of ignorance because they're like, how can you be tagging an AI bot? But again, this is the trend of the increased interaction. And the sentiment analysis in of itself is his emotion behind it and Grok being able to recognize that. So he said, hey, Grok, next time you ascribe ethnic hatred to me, you're going to put your owners in trouble. That's irresponsible of you, robot or not. Do not make claims you have zero evidence for. Consistency otherwise is the eye of the beholder. And then it responds and apologizes to him and says, look, I apologize if my characterization offended you. It stemmed from X sentiment analysis, again, data mining, including user accusations of you subtly fueling tribal divisions during the 2020 elections, twisting posts as anti-Yoruba attacks, and then evidence it goes further. So Grok is also on mobile platforms, and I asked it, can he sue? And you can take screenshots, you can take research papers, it will analyze anything you want. And I said, hey, Grok, you had an interaction with Omojuwa where he subtly threatened legal action against you for that ranking. Can you, or by extension, Elon Musk, be sued? And it replied, and I thought this was, again, this is part of what Google is doing with the AI responses. As an AI developed by XAI, I don't have personal liability, and any legal action will be directed towards XAI, not Elon Musk individually. Whether someone can take legal action on X depends on the jurisdiction, the nature of the content, and applicable laws. In this case, JJ Omojuwa's concern seems to stem from a perceived defamation or misrepresentation. Legal action would require providing or proving intent, malice, factual inaccuracies under local laws such as Nigerian Cybercrimes Act or US defamation laws if XAI's base is considered. However, and this is a disclaimer they put in medical and legal stuff because it's not a doctor or a lawyer, I'm not a legal expert and this is a general perspective. For a definitive answer, consulting a legal professional would be best. Again, the trend just continues to be this increased interactions with your Google platforms, the OpenAIs and the Groks. Pretty fascinating stuff.
In all of this, we don't have time, but I mean,
yeah, I'm told there's no time. It will have been better to have time to discuss this thing.
Understood.
Nobody should celebrate POS or e-transaction.
Why?
It hasn't worked well. And there are many questions and there are many areas for improvement. The POS operators are doing well. The banks are not doing well. You go to the ATM, the ATMs are not working. You go to the banks, they never have money. But the POS people have money. So financial inclusion, you can bring it back. Yeah. And then we can tell you, what we see about that.
All
and
right.
China, population, you always talk about China. China now is giving money to families, about 40 million people will benefit to have children.
Have babies.
So if you are interested in having babies, please go to China. You'll get 500.
But don't just keep talking population control.
That's why I'm recommending it. No, the population control has not worked in China.
So the incentive.
So the Communist Party is reversing itself. Because they have a serious demographic problem. So when you recommend population control, remember the example of China.
Tell him.